Hello, hello. Hello, my squirrels. All right, now I have to figure out how to... Oh, because I have to click on the link too. Shit. Hang on, I got to go through Facebook to get the link. Hi. Hi, guys. I'll be with you in just a second. I forgot that I can't just search it on my page, even though it's my page. I have to get the link. Duh. Hi, guys. Hi. Mute so I don't hear my voice and watch a commercial. I didn't think I had to watch a commercial when it was not a public, but that's okay. Anyways, okay. Hello. All right, let me get to live chat. Hi. All right. Well, hello, that bar girl, Witchy Woo, Donna. Perfect. Hi, Leolyn. Estelle Thomas, that Barb girl. Sonia, hi, honey. Just got a notification that Lucian had just started their popcorn party. Ah, I see. Sorry, honey. All right. Yeah, I know. It was funny. I don't know why I was nervous. I kept saying I'm never nervous. It's weird. But Hi, Jennifer Bowers. Hello, MA. Hello. Hi, Jack. Pat is headed home. Perfect. Hi, Ayana. All right. Now, Crescent Fox, hello. Thrifted some books and now no more space in my bookcase. Oh, isn't that the real thing? Believe me, I know. I have now I know you've seen my big bookcase that I had to put away. So now way more than half of my books are put in bins in the basement. Yuck. All right. Now, if one of the admins would be so kind, I'm going to kind of riff for a little while, and post in the main page that we are live. And if you're planning on coming, the link is in the event page. Just because this is they don't have any here. Because this is the first one, I want to make sure that everyone knows how to get here. Because I'm not great sometimes with technology. And I was going to do that before I came on, and I took a shower and I ran out of time. Going to send in a second email now. Perfect. Thank you, Pat. That's where most of ours are now, too, as we moved a few months ago. Still trying to figure out. I still have books in bins from our move up here, which was now 6 years ago, I think. 6.5 years ago from North Carolina. Oh, you know what else? I wonder if Dana... Did Dana sign up by email, Pat? You're probably driving. I don't want to bug you. But I want to make sure Dana has the link. And I can't remember if she signed up by email or not. She won't have it since she didn't. Shit. Oh, shit. And I can't do it now because I'm on here. Shit. All right. Well, she'll have to catch it a second time. I'll give her the link tonight when we're all done. Hi, Dawn. I couldn't get the live chat for a hot minute. We had a hard time. I think I might be the only one who has her email. I did a couple test runs, and one of the test runs, Stephen couldn't find the chat either. And I'm like, shit. So I had to do it again. I'm like, shoot, let me try and see if I can. I had to make sure I had, I don't know, everything check marked and all that the right way. But so hopefully everyone is here. And I'm excited too. This should be really fun. I don't know, is Lene here? I almost couldn't find this. See? Sunny, yay! Good, good, good. Me too. I'm really psyched. That's why I'm kind of riffing for a little while. I had to bail from Facebook, head to YouTube, much smoother stream. Anyways, it is because this is the first time we're doing this, and because it's an unlisted link, I kind of wanted to make sure I gave everyone, look at that. What in the world is that? I kind of wanted to make sure I gave everyone a chance to figure it out and get here. So that's why I'm kind of riffing for a little while. Hopefully everyone is excited as I am. I'm really psyched, like really psyched. I, of course, have way too many notes, and I still feel like I don't have enough. And but knowing me, I tend to just start talking anyway. So we will be just fine. We can start by, I will tell you a little bit about the books that I have been using. Now, I know that I gave you guys 3 books that I knew I would be using portions of anyway to kind of get some of my information. The introduction was beautiful. Thank you so much. I do not mean that you guys have to go out and buy these books. If you want to, they have lots of information. Thank you, Pat. I so appreciate you and all of you. They all have lots of information. But I'm not saying that you need to go out, run right out and buy these books, guys. Because, shit, do I not have? Hang on. Because the 3 are this one. Where's the other one? I swear I was just using it. Oh, here it is. It's hidden. You already have one of the books. So like I said, you don't have to have any books. However, if you want some of these books, these are the books that I am taking a lot of my ideas from. They are a lot of the books that I'm kind of looking up what they're saying about history and that kind of thing. The 3 that I mentioned to begin with are this one, which is Magic. Hi, Shauna. This is by Kyla Little. Dedicant by Thuri Calafia. This is a great book. I really like this book. It's very Sabbath oriented. And Witchcrafting. This is by Phyllis Carrot. This in particular was the very first book that I was actually required. When I did my initiation, I was required to read this book. I'm going to show you now. It turns out that although I am using them, I'm using a couple other books even more than those 3, at least for the beginning. Now it could change. But Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft, this has been invaluable to me, for sure. There's lots and lots and lots and lots of information in here. And the other one that I'm finding that I'm turning to more and more is Christopher Penczak. And this is The Inner Temple of Witchcraft. So out of all of Christopher's books, which I have a lot of them, The Inner Temple is like the first one. It's the very kind of beginner, looking at what lights your fire, right? Which is kind of what we're talking about. Who did you do your initiation with? I did my initiation with actually a coven that a friend of mine started here in Rochester and broke up not too long ago. Well, no, now it's been, holy crap. When did he move? He moved to Chicago, and he was the high priest. So that was probably, if the books are on Llewellyn, you can order them through Cass. That's right, because she does have a Llewellyn account. Probably about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. So mine was kind of a local coven that he, yes, it was. It's funny because thank goodness, I have to say, and we'll talk a little bit more about initiation tonight, because that's one of the things I want to talk about. But my high priest, his name was David, very sweet guy. He was strict, and you'll hear me talk about him once in a while. He was a strict Gardnerian. And thank goodness I was old enough at the time that I knew enough about my path that I knew I was going to incorporate what I wanted to and leave out what I didn't want to. So he was really strict Gardnerian, though. So he would do things like, this is not showing in your regular channel. It's not supposed to, Hexen, because it is under an unlisted video, because the people who watch this video are only the ones that are taking the class. I've never heard of Gardnerian. That's awesome. See, now this gets me excited. I love all of you, but the people who do not know like where witchcraft came from and how it really took hold, and more of the modern neo-paganism kind of stuff, that's really exciting to me. Gardnerianism came from Gerald Gardner, who lived in England and he really is considered the father of Wicca. And so he did a lot of great things. I'm not going to tell you he didn't do a lot of great things. He did. He really started Wicca. However, he was very, to me, he was like a perverted old man. They did things like the Great Rite, which is sexual rites within the coven. So like the high priest and the high priestess were, verging on predatory, very. So it also in some ways gave Wicca a bad name too, because if people really looked into that, they kind of saw that there was kind of this dark, seedy side to something. Sounds like Freud, right? Now, here's the other thing. I will say that there are some of the stuff that he did, there are good reasons for that. And there are things that I think, having been initiated, I think it is a great and wonderful thing for some of the things that have come out of favor. It's too bad, because there's some things that you would have gone through with an initiation like that I think really is a huge signal to the universe that you are actually committing yourself to a path, which is super interesting. He looked a little bit like Freud too, right? More like a crazy elf version. Yes. So yes, crazy elf version of, yes, exactly that. Yes. Okay, so let's quickly talk about, if you took a look at the paper that I posted that we gave you as kind of an introduction to what the whole class is about, what we're going to be doing. We start with the self-dedication portion. And so I want to start with, it's his pointy hair and beard, right? He had that pointy white beard. Yeah, and absolutely. for sure. I can totally see that. I want to start with what is the paper is on Facebook. And if you're doing this by email, Pat has emailed you the link for the paperwork. And it's called Self-Dedication and Initiation Introduction. So first it starts with talking about, can I download from Facebook? Yes. Yep. If you look at the event page, it was pinned at the very top, but I kind of figured everyone had got it. Yeah, it's under Google Documents. Is it still pinned at the top? It isn't, is it? Maybe it is. No, because I pinned the link at the top. So it's the post where I say, okay, my squirrels, here's the link for the introduction to the self-dedication initiation. You tried with no success. You clicked on the link and nothing happened. Is that it? Yeah. Okay. I saw a light come on. Must be Nancy downstairs, though. I thought it had something to do with what you were doing. I'm like,
yeah, it does.
Oh, it does?
I'm starting to come.
Oh, okay. Yes, it must have worked then. Can I print from Facebook? No, you should be able to print from the actual document, though. That's just a link that should bring you to the document. All right, hang on. So who just, somebody just, hold on. I had a hard time saving the document. You download it as a Word file. I got to the document, but it wouldn't let you print it. Be able to comment. All right, hold on. Miriam's having a hard time getting in. Click on the link pinned to the top of the page. Thank you, Tracy. Could copy and paste it into another program. Yep, absolutely. That should work too. Now, here's the thing, Kay. If you cannot do that, I will, at the end of the class, I should be able to. The only thing, I'm not sure if I can make a file in the event page. I don't think so. So I should be able to make, I'm going to have to do it in the regular page. So let me know if you can't print it out. If you can't figure it out, let me know. And I will either like send you a copy of it or I'll make a file in the page. Okay. That's what I did. I had to go to the browser and exit to hover over the 3 dots from my phone. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I know. Some things don't like Google. Hi, Lauren. All right. So let's talk about what a self-dedication is to start out with, okay? Okay, honey. The self-dedication portion is the portion that you are taking all of the information that we're going to be going over, and you are ready to commit to the journey that you have declared on your own. Thanks, Pat. You're ready to commit between you and the universe and your gods, goddesses, whoever it is. You're ready to say, as a solitary, all by yourself, I am ready to commit to a self-dedication. I'm going to commit to deepening my spiritual path. Yay! I'm going to commit to deepening my spiritual path. It is a private communion with you and your spiritual divinity, whatever you consider divine. You can either create your own dedication if you want to write your own dedication. That's awesome. If you don't feel comfortable with writing your own dedication, I'm going to write a general dedication for everyone to do privately at the end of this. And that will probably end up being like the week before Ostara. What happens if you haven't connected to a deity yet? That's okay. I'm not saying a specific deity. I'm just saying the divine, whatever you consider the divine to be. If you consider the divine to be some form of god or goddess, there's people that don't ever name their divine, that call them Lord and Lady, that called them God and Goddess, that called them, you know, a generic God goddess term. You don't ever have to name your divine. You can also just say, yep, non-entity quantum energy. Absolutely. Whatever it is that you could be secular. Exactly. Whatever it is that you consider to be greater than yourself, that the universe as a whole, the cosmos, you can commit to the universe alone. It is just between you and your divine, whatever you see your divine as. Or pantheistic, yep. You can also name several gods. You can name, you know, Egyptian gods, Celtic gods, whatever you consider divine. Some of you may find within the course of this, some people view themselves as the divine as part of themselves. Absolutely. Good point. Some of you will find names of gods or goddesses or both from pantheons that you've decided to explore further, in which case you can name them. This self-dedication ritual that I will be writing for us will be a fairly all-inclusive dedication. I used the terms Lord and Lady for many years. Me too. Absolutely. And I still sometimes do that because I don't want to leave anyone out, or I'm not speaking specifically to one deity. Haven't connected with a deity yet. I connected with Khanum a couple of years ago, Egyptian fertility god, but that was on the one occasion. Absolutely. And I still, to this day, I have certain gods and goddesses that I connect to and I use a lot. I have other gods and goddesses that I connect to for specific things, for specific workings that I find work really well. This goddess deity energy, I connect really well with this. Perfect. And don't forget, it's me. So again, I'm not going to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. I'm going to tell you, does it work for you? Have you looked into it and tried it out and it feels like that's what's right for you? Awesome. Then that's what works for you. Is there any issue with mixing traditions? Only if there's an issue with you. Tracy, I mix traditions all over the place. I have certain deities on the same altar from different pantheons. Now, once you begin to work with those energies, you will know if that's okay or not. Sometimes I have a Norse Asratu deity on my altar, and I put Hecate on my altar, and Hecate is like, hell no. And I feel that energy of, ooh, something's not quite right here. One of these does not like the other. And so then you know. And how do you know? Because we're going to teach you, one of the first things I'm going to teach you is how to connect and what you're looking for. What are you looking for, that feeling of connection when you do connect to know this is what they're talking about. This is, I feel warmth. I feel comfort. I feel, oh, look, yes, I have connected, and this deity, this string of connection is right for me. And then how to connect to a different connection. And suddenly you feel, oh, wait, I feel funny. I feel like I'm in the middle of a crowd that I don't like. I suddenly am starting to feel like I have a headache and like I want to let go of this connection. Let go then. So that's part of what we're going to be teaching is what happens. How do you know when you connect? What are you looking for? All right. I've got Saraswati, Caradwin, and Athena hanging out together. You better check in on them, right? Sometimes they're fine. Would you ever redo a self-dedication if you started working? Yes, absolutely. For sure, Jen. I have self-dedicated myself several times over. It's always, I will tell you, it's always a big deal. It's not like I just go, I'm going to self-dedicate again. But I have self-dedicated several times, and usually it has to do with a different direction that I'm headed, or I can tell that there's a new energy poking at me that I'm like, woo, I'm on the brink of some big thing. Then I will say, okay, let's take a step back, evaluate where I've been and where I feel like I'm going, and kind of do another self-dedication to refocus myself and announce to the universe that this is the path that I'm on now. So please send me all kinds of synchronicities from this path. Okay. All right. Any questions then about what self-dedication is? You're not supposed to know everything about it yet, but I want you to have a general idea of what a self-dedication is going to look like. Now, before we move on to initiation, yay! Thank you, Pat. Weather seems to be weird. I know. It is. It's bad here too. It's snowing here too. So it could be this. Before we move on to initiation, I want you to know too that, and I want to make very clear that you can also go all the way through this class and get to the end of the entire class and feel like you got out a whole bunch. You feel very, a lot better about what you know, what direction you're going in, and not quite feel like you're ready for a dedication or an initiation. And that's fine. Nothing says when you go through this class, that's it. I've handcuffed you to me now. You are mine. Too bad for you. No, you can get all the way to the end. There is a point in both self-dedication and initiation that there's a question there. Are you ready for this? Do you feel that this is where you want to be? And you have the absolute right to say, suddenly, no, I don't feel like that. And I know handcuffs are involved. Now, and the other thing is, it's also totally acceptable, permissible, and normal to feel nervous about the self-dedication and initiation and still want to continue with it. Totally acceptable, totally normal. That happened every time I tried to be baptized, just never felt right or what I was supposed to do. Guess I know now, right? Yay. I think I need to refresh that side of me a bit. Absolutely. Yay. Perfect. All right. So let's talk about initiation. What is the initiation portion of this ritual? It's a rite of passage. Initiation is, hold on, let me bring up my other notes. Initiation is always, there's such a nice little Christian church down the road. I used to love some of my churches. I still do. There's nothing wrong with that. You can be a Christian witch. We'll get into it. I don't want to. It's funny. I start talking about witch, and then I'm like, oh, okay. Now I know everyone identifies as a witch. That's okay too. Okay. So initiation. Initiation is a rite of passage. It is performed in a group setting, or a coven, or under a spiritual leader. You won't make us be skyclad, right? So it's funny you say that. Okay. This picture, I wish I could have done it in color. This is the Bone Stone and Earth Flash tarot deck, which I'm still waiting for. It's hopefully this spring it will be coming out. I'm so hoping, because it's going to be a fabulous deck. This is the judgment card for that deck, which I have to say is an absolutely awesome. Yes, she is tied up. It's an absolutely awesome deck. Now, this image is of an initiation ritual. This is a traditional Wiccan or pagan path initiation. This is how it was done for a long time. This is very Gardnerian. It is also Dianic. It is a lot of different. Why the binding? Good question. Yes, please have Evelyn in your prayers. I know it. The poor thing, she has just been through hell to get this deck out. And I so feel like she's going to get to the end of this and be like, here's your damn decks. Don't tell me anything about it forevermore. I feel so bad. The poor thing. She's going through a divorce now on top of everything. Okay, so why the binding? That's a good question. There's a very specific reason for it. Now, the binding is about trust. It is about complete giving over to what is, to the universe, to your deity, to perfect love and perfect trust. That's right. To the coven. I was initiated skyclad and bound. I will tell you that the bindings are there so that you feel like you have given yourself over. It is symbolic. Yes. It is not meant to be painful. It is not, it's not comfortable either, because you're bound behind your back, and then it's also bound around your neck with a lead rope that the high priestess has. So it is a submission thing that is a giving over of yourself. I don't expect this of you. So everybody can breathe. Giving yourself to the universe, giving yourself to the divine, giving yourself to seeking knowledge. Yes, it is normal, Jack. Absolutely. And there's stories. I have some great stories about initiation rituals and people that have felt that kind of vibe and have felt excitement when they never felt excitement stuff. There's some great stories about that. Submitting yourself to the craft, to magic, to the power, to the energy. That's right. So it is really about saying, yes, I trust myself and I trust my coven, at least my coven spiritual guide, which would be me. And this is why this is important for me to really get you to understand. I don't feel like I'm a normal high priestess. Let's be honest. I am not a high priestess who is going to hold you to connecting and getting guidance. Absolutely. I'm not a high priestess, though, that's going to hold you to certain traditions, to certain rules, to that kind of thing. I very much believe that your path should be your path. What I am going to do is push you to be your higher self. That's my goal in being a high priestess, is to teach you to connect and to push you to want to connect and to push you to be your higher self. Austin says he thinks you're a beautiful high priestess. I love you, Austin, my little sweet pea. And thank you, Hexen. Submission within certain Aheim communities is a gift. The submissive in a pagan situation initiate must make the choice to submit. Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to read kind of that's the problem with taking a shower right before I come on, is I keep buffing up my glasses here. Okay. So I just want to read something that I kind of wrote and had some notes on. So why is it so hard for us to understand what this self-dedication initiation process is? I still go back to that circle in tarot stock. Me too. That was a great circle. Which is partly why I so hope as many of you can come to Witchypalooza as you can, because this is great. I love this. However, this is not, no matter how great social media is, it's not the same as being together, as physically being there together. It's not as good. Yes, this is going to be up afterwards. You can rewatch it and rewatch it and rewatch it. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so why is it so hard for us to understand this process? For one thing, most of us grew up in Christian spirituality. I can't imagine seeing Christianity 101 on a church fair schedule, right? It just didn't really happen like that. You don't learn Christianity in courses or workshops like you would a hobby. There isn't beginner and advanced Christianity. Aw, I love you so much, Hexen. You lift me up too, sweetie. To be considered an active Christian, a person must believe in the Christian God and probably attend services and say prayers, right? For a lot of Christian denominations, any deeper understanding of the theology is optional, but the books about both Christian belief and Christian action are in the religious section of the bookstore. That's where you find everything. So in contrast, to be an active pagan, and I'm going to go real quick. Let me describe some of the words I plan on using. Pagan, witch, initiate, spirituality. When I say pagan, I am not saying you have to call yourself a pagan. I'm not saying you have to call yourself a witch when I say witch. They are, to me, they are generic terms that mean a broader aspect. It means someone who is spiritually seeking a nature-based path. Okay? So I don't want you to shy away from it. Even if you're not going to call yourself a witch, you're not going to call yourself a pagan, that's okay. To me, that just means that you're on this path to seek spiritual guidance. Okay? I want to make sure that's clear so you don't think I'm putting a label on you that you don't agree with. Okay. So in contrast, to be an active pagan, a person must often be their own theologian and their own priest. It's much more common to be solitary in the pagan religion and nature-based religions than it is in any kind of Christian relationship, right? I told my mom that I was studying magic to become a wizard. She asked me to what end. It stumped me. But I'm going to treat it as a 42 answer rather than her being an idiot. And I don't think I'm ever going to tell her I'm a witch. That's okay, Angelica. If you can't, you don't have to tell anyone what your personal spiritual path is. That's your own personal spiritual path. Why? I mean, it's great if you can share it with some people, but you don't have to. It's your own spiritual path. Okay. So we kind of have to be our own priest, our own theologian. We have to create our own religious rituals and conduct them. Even as a part of an established tradition and a group or a coven that practices together, there's greater demands than just to follow a script. If you believe in the supernatural, then you must be a part of an energetic flow, and you must actively be working with spirits or deities or universe. If you don't believe in the supernatural, there's still a lot of psychology and work involved in being a part of a good ritual, much less writing one. So generally, we are a religion of, it's called orthopraxy. And that's ORTHOPRAXY, orthopraxy. And the definition of that is correct action. Versus orthodoxy, which is correct belief. So that's what Christians are about. They are an orthodoxy. They're about the correct belief. We study the correct action. So to simplify this, Christians believe in Christian things. Pagans do pagan things. It took me a long time to figure out why I kept feeling like I was missing something when I started my pagan research. I have a ton of pagan books. I felt like I turned into a sponge and I devoured everything around about paganism, about witches, about witchcraft, about Wicca. I devoured books like you would not believe. And I kept thinking, this is all great, but this is the stuff. This is the stuff of it. This is the spell work. I have books, beginner witch books, pagan 101, Sabbath books, spell books. All of these have chapter upon chapter of how-to rituals. What tools do you need? Steps for spell work. But most of them don't really tell us exactly how to believe. They don't do that, right? Any pagan books that you have, it's very difficult to find any of them that is going to tell you how to believe. As Christians, we were taught how to believe. We believe there is one God. We believe that Jesus died on the cross. We believe that's all that stuff. That is how to believe. And when you get to the pagan path, it took me forever. I was like, where is it? There's a thing I'm missing. And I couldn't figure it out. And I thought, well, I don't understand why I can't find this thing that's missing. And I kept thinking, maybe it's just because I was a Christian. And so now I'm a pagan and it just feels different. So I keep thinking there's something missing. So why do you think that is? Why do you think that it doesn't tell us how to believe? There's a reason. And it finally dawned on me. I don't know. It seems such a simplistic thing, but it finally dawned on me. The answer is at the root of the pagan nature-based religion. We have a few tenets that are pretty much widely used, but the whole idea of this religion, that's right, Leland, I love you. The whole idea of this religion or path or belief or journey is that you should be able to read, study, experiment, and finally decide what pieces of spirituality you feel connected to and practice that. Do that. So we really are not a religion of converts, but a collective of student practitioners. So when I talk about my religion, one of the first things I say to people is it's a nature-based religion, and it is a collective of practices. It is a practice every day. It's how I reach my spiritual connection every day. I don't tell anyone how to believe, and no one, they can try, but no one should be telling us how to believe. Because that's the point of our religion. And that's why my motto is, if it works for you, it works. And that's why I get so ticked when I see other witch groups and other spiritual leaders of this path saying to you, nope, that's wrong. That's wrong. I think, who the fuck are you? Who are you to tell me or to tell anyone that's wrong? Who are you? That is why we are in this religion, this practice, this journey, is because we want the ability to practice what works for us. Okay, please explain nature-based. Yes. So when I say a nature-based religion, what I mean by that is we follow the cycles of the earth. Where's my original here? Hold on. Okay, we follow the cycles of the earth and apply these cyclic principles in all areas of our life. So when we talk about what we believe about living and dying and reliving, it's because we see that in nature and in the earth and in the cosmos around us. When we talk about the Sabbats, we talk about the representation of the god who dies at Mabon and is replanted into the soil and fertilizes what is in the soil. And then when Imbolc comes, we know that it's beginning to germinate underneath the soil. And then at Ostara, we start to see the growth, the regrowth again. So it is the death, the rebirth, everything that we believe, everything that we practice comes from something in nature. We don't pull bullshit out of our ass. Now, please understand, once again, I try to do this as much as I can so that people understand I'm not bashing the Christian religion. You can be a Christian witch and be very happy being a Christian witch. The problem that I see with Christianity comes in when you have evangelicals, is what I normally call them, who decide what I can believe. And I just don't feel that at that point they are in the right anymore. Trees, water, earth, air, fire. Yes, 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 yes. We here can think for ourselves. Yes. And are required to try to think for yourself when they focus on the dogma and not the teachings. Oh, so true, Ayana. So true. Hi, Lee. So true. Yes, those who focus on, the written word and try to tell everyone else how they're supposed to interpret that instead of going by the fact that Jesus invited all the harlots into the temple and washed their feet and directly connect with nature. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. We can read from many sources, not just one book. That's right. We can go out into nature and observe nature and follow its example. We do not have an in-between. Yes. We do not have to go to a priest or priestess if we don't want to at all. We can go to a spiritual guide and ask for help with connecting, help with, give me some ideas of what works for other people. Frankly, Jesus is the poster child of witchcraft. Woohoo! I'm so with you on that one. Wasn't he just, though? He was like the ultimate witch. This is where you and I mostly agree, but I'm a bit more severe towards the Christian religion. I know you are, Leland, and that's okay. And I'll tell you that on a personally private level, I am too, more. But I do believe that everyone can practice as they wish. Turned water into wine, walked on water, right? For sure. Yes, yes, yes. I consider myself a Christian witch. I believe that God is so a part of nature that being nature-based makes sense. Perfect. I love that. And that is awesome. I have no problem whatsoever with that. And of course, to me, it would seem if you were a Christian, to me, it would seem like that would be the ultimate embodiment of what Christianity was supposed to be. Like that is love. That is what at its heart, at its core, that's what Christianity was supposed to be. So why wouldn't it fit in with nature and the cycles of the earth and connecting and revering what God has given you? I don't understand. If Jesus was here to see the foolery that Christianity has become, he would be pagan. I agree. I would agree. Yes, it is part of hoodoo, I believe. So many evangelical Christians appear to be such hypocrites. Yes, I know, right? Christ wasn't a Christian. He was a Jew. Yeah, exactly. But people don't look at witchcraft as love. That's so true. They don't. And that is, again, one of the things we're going to be learning about is witchcraft, to me, or the practice or spiritual practice or connection, however you want to call that, is taking what is in nature and learning how to amplify the energy that you are trying to work with. And if that means from an herb, then use an herb to amplify that energy. If that means from an oil, use an oil to amplify the energy. If it is the practice of amplifying the energy that you are trying to work with in life and putting it out there in the universe, because then the universe sees that energy, and what does it do? The law of attraction means you're putting that energy out. It wants to attract more of that energy, which is why when we do this, we're going to create synchronicities like we never, ever imagined. When we say to the universe, this is it. This is the path I'm on. This is the energy I'm trying to create. Here it is out there. This is what I'm portraying. The universe says, oh, this is what you want. Awesome. Here, have some more of that. Like you would not believe. Yes, and his pawn people murdered him, and modern day Jews still don't believe in him. I know it. You've learned something tonight. Yay. People fear what they don't understand. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. True. True, true, true. Okay. Any questions so far? Because I have a story to read next. Which is such a great story. I love this story. Universe is personified, right? Okay, here we go. So this story is called Two Witches, a modern craft fairy tale. This is by Mike Nichols. And if you guys want it, I can link the link to the story. Once upon a time, there were two witches. One was a feminist witch, and the other was a traditionalist witch. And although both of them were deeply religious, they had rather different ideas about what their religion meant. The feminist witch tended to believe that witchcraft was a religion especially suited to women because the image of the goddess was empowering and a strong weapon against patriarchal tyranny. And there was a distrust in the heart of the feminist witch for the traditionalist witch because, from the feminist perspective, the traditional witch seemed subversive and a threat to the cause. The traditionalist witch tended to believe that witchcraft was a religion for both men and women because anything less would be divisive. And although the goddess was worshipped, care was taken to give equal stress to the god force in nature, the horned one. And there was distrust in the heart of the traditionalist witch for the feminist witch because, from the traditionalist viewpoint, the feminist witch seemed like a latecomer and a threat to tradition. These two witches lived in the same community, but each belonged to a different coven, so they did not often run into one another. Strange to say, the few times they did meet, they felt an odd sort of mutual attraction, at least on a physical level. But both recognized the folly of this attraction, for their ideologies were worlds apart, and nothing, it seemed, could ever bridge them. Forget it. Then one year, the community decided to hold a grand coven, and all the covens in the area were invited to attend. After the rituals, the singing, the magics, the feasting, the poetry, and dancing were concluded, all retired to their tents and sleeping bags. All but these two, for they were troubled by their differences and couldn't sleep. They alone remained sitting by the campfire while all others around them dreamed. And before long, they began to talk about their differing views of the goddess. And since they were both relatively inexperienced witches, they soon began to argue about what was the true image of the goddess. Describe your image of the goddess to me, challenged the feminist witch. The traditionalist witch smiled, sighed, and said in a rapt voice, "She is the embodiment of all loveliness, the quintessence of feminine beauty. I picture her with silver blonde hair like moonlight, rich and thick, falling down around her soft shoulders. She has the voluptuous young body of a maiden in her prime, and her clothes are the most seductive, gossamer thin and clinging to her willowy frame. I see her dancing like a young elfin nymph in a moonlit glade, the dance of a temple priestess, and she calls to her lover, the horned one, in a voice that is gentle and soft and sweet, and as musical as a silver bell frosted with ice. She is Aphrodite, goddess of sensual love, and her lover comes in answer to her call, for she is destined to become the great mother. That is how I see the goddess." The feminist witch hooted with laughter and said, "Your goddess is a cosmic Barbie doll, the youngin' archetype of a cheerleader. She is all glitter and no substance. Where is her strength, her power? I see the goddess very differently. To me, she is the embodiment of strength and courage and wisdom, a living symbol of the collective power of women everywhere. I picture her with hair as black as a moonless night, cropped short for ease on the field of battle. She has the muscular body of a woman at the peak of health and fitness, and her clothes are the most practical and sensible, not slinky cocktail dresses. She does not paint her face or perfume her hair or shave her legs to please men's vanities, nor does she do pornographic dances to attract a man to her. For when she calls to a male in a voice that is strong and defiant, it will be to do battle with the repressive masculine ego. She is Artemis, the huntress, and it is fatal for any man to cast a leering glance in her direction. For although she may be the many-breasted mother, she is also the dark crone of wisdom who destroys the old order. That is how I see the goddess." Now the traditionalist witch hooted with laughter. Your goddess is the antithesis of all that is feminine. She is Yahweh hiding behind a feminine mask. Don't forget that it was his followers who burned witches at the stake for the sin of having painted faces. After all, witches with their knowledge of herbs were the ones who developed the art of cosmetics. So what of beauty? What of love? What of desire? And so the argument raged until the sound of their voices awakened a coven elder who was sleeping nearby. The elder looks from the feminist witch to the traditionalist witch and back again, saying nothing for a long moment. The elder suggested that both witches go into the woods apart from one another, and there, by magic and meditation, that each seek a true vision of the goddess. This they both agreed to do. After a time of invocations, there was a moment of perfect silence and stillness. And then a glimmer of light could be seen in the forest, a light shaded deepest green by the dense foliage. Both witches ran towards the source of the radiance. To their wonder and amazement, they discovered the goddess had appeared in a clearing directly between them, so that neither witch could see the other. And the traditionalist witch yelled, "What did I tell you?" At the same instant, the feminist witch yelled, "You see, I was right." And so neither witch heard the other. To the feminist witch, the goddess seemed to be a shining matrix of power and strength with courage and energy flowing outward. The goddess seemed to be holding out her arms to embrace the feminist witch as a comrade in arms. To the traditionalist witch, the goddess seemed to be the zenith of feminine beauty, lightly playing a harp and singing a siren song of seduction. Energy seemed to flow towards her, and she seemed to hold out her arms to the traditionalist witch invitingly. From opposite sides of the clearing, the witches ran toward the figure of the goddess they both loved so well, desiring to be held in the ecstasy of that divine embrace. But just before they reached her, the apparition vanished, and the two witches were startled to find themselves embracing each other. And then they both heard the voice of the goddess, and oddly enough, it sounded exactly the same to both of them. It sounded like laughter. The end. Okay, so were any of you listening? I know you're talking about other stuff in here. Hold on, I'll try to catch up. Your robot. So we're talking about specific. Hold on. The writer is Mike Nichols. Mike Nichols. Yes, absolutely, Pat. For sure. Hang on one second, but yes, I will, I promise. Great story, right? Isn't that good? So, the laughter, exactly. Is it someplace we can read it? Yes, and I will give it to you. It is a site that I have bookmarked, and I often go back to because it has all kinds of pagan stories, pagan rituals, there's all kinds of pagan stuff. So I will put that in the event page, and I'll make sure Pat has it to send to those of you who are doing this through email. It is Mike Nichols, and there's a whole website that is an awesome website that I use a lot to get pagan stories and stuff. Facets of a gem. That's right. That can never be seen all at once. Exactly. And what kills me, I loved the story of that. To me is so good because, again, the path that you're on is going to be everything that you need. Everything that you need it to be for you can be found on this path. Everything that you believe works for you and you connect to and you think, oh my goodness, this is the perfect thing. I can't, is this right? Yes. If it feels like this is the perfect thing for you, yes, it is right for you. And no one can tell you otherwise. And it does not mean, however, that anyone else's path that is so different from yours is wrong. It's still right. It's just right for them. Okay, so touching on the difference between, hold on, Wiccan and pagan. Good question. I love that question. Okay, so if you think of, let's talk in terms of Christianity. When you think of a Christian path, let's say you're a Christian, there's many different types of Christianity. You can be Catholic, Baptist, Lutheran, evangelical, right? There's all kinds of different. You found it. Hey, you're awesome. Leanne, I don't know what I do. You are awesome. Episcopalian, right? There's all these different ways of going about practicing Christianity. Well, it's the same in the pagan path. The pagan, if you say a pagan religion, that is the basic concept of a nature-based religion. And then there's all kinds of smaller directions that you can start heading in. One of them is Wiccan, which comes from mostly, it got started from Gerald Gardner, but Wicca is not Gardnerian necessarily. Wicca is a specific path, though, on the pagan religion. So there are different things that Wiccans have different belief systems. And if you want to be Wiccan, for the most part, you need to follow what the Wiccan ideals are. So there's something called a Wiccan Rede, which says, if you see, now I don't follow it, so I can't remember how to say it. Do what you will, but harm none. So that means you can do whatever you want in Wicca, in your magic workings, but you shouldn't harm anyone. And harm none, do what you will. Thank you, Leland. There's other things in the Wiccan tradition, like the threefold law. That's a very Wiccan concept, although that's also shared with a couple other pagan sects, parts of the pagans, which says that any energy that you put out there will come back to you threefold. So in other words, if you put a spell out there that is healing, you'll get 3 times the healing back. You may find that is truth for you. I have not found that in my practice. So I don't follow that either. I have found that energy does multiply, and the law of attraction is a big thing for me because scientifically, the law of attraction says if you have positive electrons, then positive electrons want to gather with it. If you have negative electrons, then negative electrons want to gather with it. So the law of attraction says the energy that you put out there will attract the same type of energy. Same thing. So Wicca is just a small path that you can follow in the umbrella that is the pagan religion. So pagans is just a big umbrella term for nature-based religions. Okay, did that answer your question? This is why I don't call myself Wiccan either. Ever mind the rule of 3 that, yep, you'll get back times 3. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. I got the idea that some stuff in Wicca was taken from the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Yep, that's true. And some Crowley stuff for sure. Mainly because of Gardner being in the Golden Dawn about 9. Yep, for sure. Absolutely. It's so weird that they would hide. Pagan is like the word Christian. Yes, it is. That they would hide that. YouTube's weird sometimes. Okay. So does everyone understand that? Yeah, it's an umbrella term for the greater, like it's just a term for nature-based religion. So the last thing that I want to cover, how are we doing? Yeah, we're a little over an hour now. The last thing that I want to cover tonight is that there are titles and I don't know what to call them. There are terms that you need to study and figure out what you plan on calling yourself. Christopher Penczak says that the calling to be a witch, which is, you know, the spiritual path that we are on, has historically been one of great responsibility. Witches, in the truest sense of the word, are those who use their sacred knowledge and connection in service to others, the tribe, the world, and the highest good. I love that. Love that. Witches, in the truest sense of the word, are those who use their sacred knowledge and connection in service to others, the tribe, the world, and the highest good. That's great. So the first homework sheet is not quite done yet. I'm close, but it's not quite done. One of the things that is in question here, the first, and I'll tell you what the first question is going to be so that at least you can get started on the first question, okay? The first question is, do you think that you will claim the word witch as your own? If not, do you have another term that you will claim to represent how you see yourself on this journey of spirit? What is it and why? So that is the first question. So let's talk about, before we leave, what are some of the other terms that you can use? There's so many terms out there. I want you to have something in mind that you plan on, at least personally to yourself, calling yourself, I call myself an eclectic pagan witch. That kind of gives it all of the adjectives that I need to describe what I feel like I am. So, but there's witch, there's healer, there's a pantheist, yep. There's a spiritualist. There's Christopher Penczak uses a walker between worlds. I love that one. That means a shaman healer, a bridge between the two worlds, bringing healing to the people, to the land, and to the spirits. Wise woman. Yep. A cunning woman. Some people say a cunning woman. A mystic. Perfect. An eclectic witch. Yes. Do you have to use one of these? No, you don't have to. But I want you to think of one that you're at least semi-comfortable with, because when you are doing your workings, crone, I love it. Perfect. I call myself a stinky old dragon. Sorceress, love it. Absolute hag. If you want to, sure. I have to say that for me, I like the idea of reclaiming the word witch. Witch came from a good thing. It came from the word Wicca, or wiki, depending on if it was male or female, which meant wise. So it came from a good thing. So I kind of like the idea of reclaiming the word witch as a good thing, because it's not a bad thing. Right, exactly. The Wiki, that was for male, and Wicca, Wicca, that was Anglo-Saxon for female, a wise female or a wise male. Exactly. So that's the first question. I heard someone else come up with the term chaos pagan. Oh, that's kind of nice, right? Which I sort of like, but I'm referring to myself as wizard. I'm unsure if that's accurate either. And that's okay. And by the way, you don't have to stick with that either. I don't expect you to, my path is constantly evolving. And so once you pick something, that doesn't mean that's it. You're stuck with that forever. No way. Not at all. So there will be several more questions. Probably I'm going to limit it to no more than 10. Because I don't want you, this should not be, a homework assignment that takes you all week to do. But I do want you, the homework assignments will be stuff that I want you to look up and explore and look into and try out and feel if it feels right for you. Because yes, that's true, Hexen. Warlock has its own drama because it means oath breaker. And so when they started calling witches warlocks, it was as an inside joke. They were like, oh, haha, you're an oath breaker. Yeah. So that is, I have to say, that is not one that I would recommend just because it has a negative connotation attached to it from the history. Right? Yeah, it does. That's a historical thing. Spiritually free practitioner. I love it. Perfect. Perfect. I never trusted warlocks, right? Any questions about what we covered? Especially pagans. It's never been a good thing to be an oath breaker as a pagan. Exactly. It always seems kind of a cartoonish word. Yeah. And it's when it started out, it was like a jab at the pagan religion. So I can't believe it's been an hour already. I have so much more I could do, but my challenge, I think, is going to be to break this up into 7 more different videos and then feel like we're done. We'll see. I know. How are you guys feeling Friday nights? I will tell you that starting with the next one, because this was an introduction, I wanted to keep it at an hour so you could kind of, think about stuff, so you could take it all in. Starting next time, it may be more like 2 hours because there's a lot of information to cover. I like Friday nights for this. So if it was Friday nights, that would be better for you guys. I know I feel bad. It's terrible that it's like for one person though. If Friday nights are good for most of us, then maybe we'll keep it on Friday nights. I know poor Cass does her lives starting at 9 o'clock. So I know she has a hard time with Friday nights, but everybody who can't come can watch it back too. So the reason I said Wednesdays is because it's a half a day for me, but we don't have to do it on Wednesdays. Fridays are always good because it's the end of the week. Spar Wars at Karate for Kids, but we'll always watch back. Everyone is always doing lives, though. I know, right? Friday would be better for you. Okay. All right. Well, then let's try to keep it on Fridays. I'll switch the event to Friday nights, and we'll try to keep it on Fridays then. Sounds good. All right. I will now by tomorrow. I'm not going to promise when because I'm not waking up early, but by tomorrow, probably late afternoon is my guess. I will have the rest of the questions and I will post the homework and have Pat email the homework for next week. So the next one is we'll keep it Fridays for now then. How about Fridays and the option of a simple Q&A Wednesdays? Yeah, that's a good idea, Pat. I like that. That's a really good idea. Email. Yes. Maya, some people don't have Facebook. And so some people are tuning in through email, which Pat has taken the lead on that for me. So yay, you are welcome. I love you guys. I hope that you're feeling good about this. And I hope that everybody feels like they can be on board with this and, it has a greater understanding anyway of what we're doing and what the goal is. So that was the introduction portion. Yay! Me too. You are so welcome. All right. I love you guys so much. I hope that you have an amazing weekend. I will be on, I'm sure. Oh, I did run a giveaway. Neither one of them are here, I don't think. Is Lanai here? Maybe I'll do this on Facebook Live. Oh, I should do it on Instagram since technically it was an Instagram thing. All right, I'll do it on Instagram. I have to draw a name for my giveaway that I did on Instagram today. So meet me on Instagram if you want, and I'm going to do a drawing because only 2 people are entered. So if you're one of them, you have a 50-50 shot. Love you guys. We'll see you on Friday.